All right, all right. What's going on, good people? It's your girl, Dr. Brown, baby, and the one and only.
You already know what it is. What's happening, folks? It's the Mr. Straight out the south side of the ATL, the infamous AT alien himself. What goes on, Darker?
Woo, all the good things. Y'all see, I got this sweatshirt on today. Went
Yeah,
from
man.
summer too hot to damn, it's cold outside.
Look, it must be October, player.
It's freezing in the morning. It's probably hot out there right now.
Hey, but you know what? It's my best time of year because to me, you get the best sleep. You know what I mean? It's cool enough outside. You can open the window, crack the window, and have the best sleep of your life. You just don't want to get out of the bed in the morning. That's all.
Ain't your birthday coming up too?
Yeah, man, like 2 weeks. So I'll be older.
But still looking great, which is all that matters.
Hey, man, I got a head full of hair, so I'm not complaining.
No.
I broke a lot of odds with this mane.
Real talk. Real talk. That's good. What you been up to though?
I'm living, man. Watching the news, of course, and working, of course. Wishing I hit the Powerball for this $1.5 billion, but I haven't, of course. How about you?
Well, and so I appreciate the reminder text because I'm gonna go get my ticket for tomorrow's drawing.
All right, hey man, I try to keep you on point. I mean, everybody I know to get a ticket is another chance for me to win. I'm not asking for a lot, but just a little bit.
You said every ticket your friends buy is a ticket
That's
for
right.
you. Oh
Give
my
me
God.
one step
There
closer.
he is.
Look, where I look at it, if you got 1.5 billion, hey, man, listen. All I'm saying is it ain't so many friends you done have for 20 plus years, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's real shit. Real shit.
Oh, but man, in lighter news, man, you know, winning the lottery would be an amazing thing. Maybe it happens, you know. You just got to keep it. Can't win if you don't play. That's what they say.
That part.
Real talk. So, want to get the ball rolling this week. I know it's been a couple weeks off, but let's jump right into it. What's funny is I was watching the last show recently, and I realized that one of our last topics is also one of our most current topics.
Okay.
That is Sexyy Red.
Oh Lord, she's back again.
She is back. When we left off, we were talking about a lip gloss line which had some of the most obscene names for flavors, if you want to even call it that I'd ever heard. And now she's in the news because sex tapes. She's having a leaking of her intimate moments to the internet. Dr. Brown, talk to us.
Well, I feel like it's been a moment since we've had a good sex tape week. So I feel for that, like she gets A1. It's fresh, it's new. I don't think we've had a sex tape this year that's really like as big as Sexyy Red because everybody's been talking about her this year.
Right.
Drew's talking about marrying her. So she's like, everybody's talking about her right now.
Right.
You know, I searched for the sex tape, couldn't find it, but I did see some of the comments, of course, on Instagram and like, you know, some of the stuff on Twitter come through Instagram. And it's really interesting to me. Apparently, a lot of folks, a lot of women were also talking smack about either the color of her vaginal parts and whether
right
ready to go. And
so,
like I find that very interesting. Like, why are we talking about like whether or not she's ready to go? Like, ew.
You're right, but I think that when you put yourself out there so explicitly, you leave yourself open. Like anything, anytime you try to put yourself in public, you leave yourself open for public criticism. And you know, when you want to be raunchy and extreme to the level that she is, you know, naming your lip gloss coochie juice, you know, it's gonna be some get back if things aren't up to snuff, so to say. And you know, apparently things aren't up to snuff, so to say.
Well,
and one thing I think was interesting too is when people were talking about like what type of men are you dealing with when you have men that are releasing sex tapes on you. Like this normally happens in reverse, but we're living in the time now with social media. Like the clout chasing is to the point where everybody does it, men, women alike.
But at the same time, though, so a couple things. One, maybe it's just me, but her bonnet, I did see pictures. Her having the bonnet on was like a lot for me. The other thing was, I'm not quite sure what I read was true, but I read that she leaked it, and she leaked it because recently it came out that she supports Donald Trump. So it's like a distraction. It's a squirrel. Like, oh, don't look at what I'm talking about with Donald Trump. Look at my dry coochie, which is not actually pink.
I mean, that could very well be the case. I don't know, but with the Trump comments, I mean, I just look at it as one of those things where it's like when you look at the context of her music, I don't think that anybody is going to take her political views at all serious. You know what I mean? Like you know, like back in the day, if Uncle Luke was telling you X, Y, and Z about anything political, you wasn't really listening to it. You know what I'm saying? So I
Well,
don't know. I take offense a lot of times at silly shit, but even when I saw her interview when she was talking about it, it was like, yeah, when Donald Trump when he started giving black people money, baby, we love Donald Trump. And it's like you're a caricature. You're a freaking character. You're not even a real person. I just quickly dismissed that. Like I said, she doesn't hold influence like some of these other artists I've had problems with, you know, who claim to have all this acumen and be so pro-black and then turned out to be Trump supporters behind closed doors. But
well, they've had artists with less clout who've gotten canceled for less, like Chrisette Michele.
yeah, you're right.
You
But
know
it
what I'm
was
saying?
almost like she was making that high identity though. And that was what was so weird about that. You know what I mean? Like you were like no disrespect. I mean, but everybody's celebrity for the most part has a timer on it. You know what I'm saying? And her time had long run out. And it's like, you know, I'm a Trump supporter and they're trying to cancel me. No, you had your moment. That's all.
Yeah.
A lot of people only have one song. It's not even nothing to be ashamed of. In all honesty, you kind of hope for that one song. You just want that to be big enough to sustain your whole fucking career. But it's okay. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, but I get you. I mean, it's just weird. I think one thing about it is I think a lot of black people in the public eye have figured out that if I become a Republican or I become a Trump supporter, I automatically get X amount of publicity off rip that I would never get under any other circumstance.
Very true.
Yep. And when you're chasing clout, I mean, you know, if it's going to get me on TV 3 times a week, why the fuck not?
I mean, between the lip gloss, the sex tape, and Donald Trump, she should be in the news for a long time.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
At least as long as he's in the news. And speaking of in the news and Donald Trump and his friends, not that these are his friends, but Israel's under attack. Surprisingly, Hamas went ham this weekend and just went ham. Land, sea, and air. They were shooting rockets and missiles. The stories that these people have gone as far as going door to door, collecting hostages and killing civilians. It's a situation. And I'm sorry, Hamas and Palestine, but anytime you're looking for global sympathy, the way to not get that is to start kidnapping women and children. Period.
Yeah. This is rough. I mean, and the fact that Netanyahu literally was like, we're at war. War is never, ever. And it's rough and it's tough for a lot of reasons. I mean, you've got a lot of people suffering right now, whether you are a supporter of Israel or you supporter of Palestine, or whether you don't know or don't care. People getting hurt, death, explosion. Nobody wins.
And like they said already, we've had 200 plus deaths on both sides from civilians. Yeah. Nothing's positive about that. And they're a real human, it's a real humanity crisis what's going on over there and has been for as long as we've been alive. You know what I'm saying? But the way to gain sympathy for your cause is not to go out and kidnap women and children. That shit is dumb.
It's not, and it's hard because like Netanyahu and Israel, they are imperialists. Mm-hmm. They are very
let's be real, he's Trump. He's Trump in the Middle East.
Exactly. And the way
he's got a big fucking mouth. He ain't never had to back that shit up, and people don't like that.
They don't. And so, it's hard to experience it here in this country and then to see it happening somewhere else. And to feel as helpless as I did here, as I do now in the situation with Israel. But it's like, no, I have never grown up with bombs. I've never grown up with civilians being shot and kidnappings. However, I do understand oppression. I do understand gaslighting. And I do understand being at your last rope. I do understand multi-generational pain.
Yep.
And so for that, my heart goes out to everyone.
Right. Because let's be honest, it probably wasn't until the last 20, 25 years that the Palestinian people have actually been heard in this country. Because, growing up for us in the 80s and 90s, it was like Israel's right, end of discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't don't look into it. Don't try to figure nothing out, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's Israel and that's that. You know what I'm saying? And then you read into it and you start to understand, hey, things weren't peaches and cream over there. And a lot of shit needs to be damn addressed. But again, killing civilians is never, ever going to be the way to get any kind of real change to come about that you're looking for.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see, of course, in America is going to utilize this as a political moment, right? I mean, the
Absolutely.
Republicans swear that they're pro-Israel and swear that they're anti-Semitic, right? But then like they do all this legislation and say a bunch of bullshit and support stuff that is really actually anti-Jewish. But for the purposes of oppression, for the purposes of white supremacy, right? They align themselves with this idea of, you know, people who want to suppress other people who are considered less than, so that the economy can continue. It's all about the
Well,
economy.
have you seen the right's attempt to gaslight the current situation, to blame it on the Biden administration because of the money the Biden administration decided to give back to Iran, the $6 billion, and now the conservatives are like, oh look, they gave them $6 billion and they immediately attacked Israel, right? And it's like these are the same people when there's a shooting at a school that say, oh, don't politicize this, thoughts and prayers, but don't politicize this. And lo and behold, the day it happens in Israel, oh, it's Joe Biden's fault if Joe Biden done X, Y, and Z, and then finds out the $6 billion hadn't been touched by anybody yet. It's like you're in a hurry to go out here and lie, to propagandize a horrible situation that we don't know where this is going to lead, but we know it can lead to a very bad place. And you want to assert blame to your own country's administration without even having the facts, man. The Republican Party is in a bad situation. Maybe this is a good segue. I know it's not on the agenda, but the whole thing with what's going on in the House with Kevin McCarthy, and we don't have a speaker, and it ties into this Israel situation perfectly because the majority of the military is without heads because Tommy Tuberville is an asshole. And it goes back to what I talk about, how we are in a cold civil war in this country, and most people don't have the balls to say that out loud. But when you have a political party that is actively obstructing not just the paying of the bills of the nation, they're actively trying to close the nation on an administrative level. They're also
the Supreme Court.
Right. They're trying to they're trying to kneecap the military, and they're successfully doing that. And they're doing all of this in servitude of a man who's holding or who's facing 91 felony counts. We have to be honest with what we're in. We're in a hostile situation in this country with a political party that is abandoned democracy.
It's a cold civil war that has been heavily seasoned with fascism.
Right.
And the fascism movement has been building since Trump hit the scene, to be perfectly honest, and he opened his mouth. And now that he has, you know, had all this airtime and has been elected and has been impeached and has been indicted, right? And it has only continued to fuel that's that force multiplier for the fascism in the pot, you know. And so I think that people don't have the balls to call it what it is, because it's definitely a cold civil war. And I had someone tell me some time ago that we never really healed the wounds of the Civil War.
Right.
If you really think about it, like we never really got into dealing with those things, which is why we've got this hard line, red and blue, you know, that's it. My side of the line, your side of the line. And so, and here we are, what it looks like.
To add with that, right, from a philosophical standpoint, not dealing with the Civil War was also the same thing that happened with Nixon. It wasn't properly handled. After the Civil War, there were people who were absolutely like, you know what, if you're down with the conservatives, that's a wrap. Get your ass out of government. You ain't never going to hold no positions. And then there were the moderates who said, no, we can't do that. These are still Americans. They still deserve a second chance. And they were given a second chance. Same thing with Nixon. When Nixon was supposed to go to jail behind his bullshit, Ford bounced his ass, got his ass out of it and pardoned him. You see what I'm saying? That's a problem. And we can't do that with Trump, and we shouldn't do it with this current set of Republicans. The hammer should be laid down. Trump should spend the rest of his life in fucking prison, not in a makeshift prison. Trump should be in jail right now behind the attacks on everybody involved in all of his cases, but he's not. We have to stop doing this. We have to stop doing this, because there's going to be somebody who's smarter than Trump, who doesn't scream the plot before the story's even told. We're going to have someone.
It's a playbook.
Exactly. Who's going to be disciplined enough to follow through with the playbook without giving up the plot in the first act?
Right.
And if we don't handle Trump and his people appropriately, it's going to happen. It has to happen again. And the reason it has to happen again, because the Republicans have won one popular election in the last 30 years. One, they've won just once, and that was post September 11th.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to cheat. That's why they have to cheat.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll see if the cheating makes it through the courts.
Yeah,
That's a stress test.
but
Clearly,
he,
the federal government a little while to get their head in the game, but they finally started handling with the the impeachments and the hearings and such. But like folks in the states, we're ready to go. So
right,
let's see the stress test for America's system right now.
right. I mean, imagine the nerve of these people having impeachment on Joe Biden with absolutely no evidence, and at the same time actively working to shut down the government. And then when Hillary Clinton says they need to be re-educated because they're in a fucking cult, they get upset and clutch their pearls. But
pearls before swine.
Indeed. Speaking of swine, that was a great segue. Swine have finally arrested, quote unquote, the murderer of one Tupac Amaru Shakur. The Las Vegas police have what's the brother's name? D Free, whatever his name is.
Yes.
This guy's been doing books. He's been on a whole tour talking about how he killed Tupac, and now he's finally been arrested. Whoop-de-doo.
It's anticlimactic and gratifying at the same time, but really highly fucking annoying because first of all, folks done known this whole time, and he even said, he got a deal from the Fed.
Literally a book deal.
And then he was speaking engagements. Terms is now going to incriminate himself. He's 60 years old. He made it. You know how many generations of rappers have come since then?
Yep.
And now here you go talking, and now you're going to do time. So, yay, but not really.
And then, it took this long. 1996, I graduated from high school, man. I remember I was getting ready to start not Georgia State, but Austin State when Pac died in that September. And it's it took y'all this long? It took y'all this long?
It didn't though, but I feel this time of day when things are cold cases are being solved, it's they kind of had to. You just can't let certain shit go anymore. You got all these dead bodies. You done figured all that shit out. We've been on who took. So just give us somebody.
Right.
Give us somebody. You know what I'm saying?
In a case that was so openly speculated upon. You had television specials with Soledad O'Brien. You had all kinds of shit done behind this murder around who did it and why. And 4 or 5 years after that, we still just getting an arrest. And this was one of the most popular, and even after death has become even more popular than that, musicians of all fucking time. What are we doing?
Not a damn thing.
It's crazy to me, man. I never understand it, but only in America, right?
So for that, I am glad. I am gratified. I feel there's some sense of justice. I don't feel like there's any kind of cover up or whatever. Sometimes, this is the guy, but we kind of know this isn't the guy. I believe this is the guy. I am curious to see how things are going to unfold, only because of how he's found himself in the set of circumstances now. And so we'll see. I'll get my popcorn, and I might have to put on some Tupac too.
And let me say this too. I could prove to be wrong, but one thing I don't like about my people, right, is when this whole thing happened, the first thing people said is Puffy's going to jail. And it's can we pump our brakes on that, please, for 1 second? Can we just wait till we hear any kind of real information or any real evidence or circumstances or any link to anybody on anything, period, point blank? This shit got people killed. It's innocent people that died behind this 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Let's just relax. If anybody had anything to do with it, I'm certain it will probably come out in trials, if it even goes to trial. Because I'd argue, I don't think that brother's gonna make it through jail. Just being perfectly honest with you.
I believe that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pent up.
He killed Pac. Right. I don't see him making it to trial because nigga, you killed Pac. Pac wasn't bothering nobody. It wasn't no reason for Pac to die. Pac wasn't raping people like R. Kelly. He wasn't stealing money from people. He wasn't screwing niggas on record deals. No. He was pretty much a straight up dude that everybody fucking loved. And you killed this nigga because he whooped your nephew ass. Bruh, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta do better, man.
Yeah. But you know what it reminds me of? That's that other simple nigga shit. Same thing that got Takeoff killed.
Right.
A dice game. A cultural icon, a culturally iconic group over some nigga shit. You know what I'm saying?
For real. A nigga moment. A true nigga moment.
Right.
And it's like at some point, man, you got to learn to take L's, man. When the nigga pride be so big, you can't take a L. It's you in a bad situation because we all take L's.
Lanes. Oh, that's painful. Ooh.
Man, what? Every one of us done fell on your face, but at some point you got to learn to accept that work. Period. Point blank.
That part.
Dark, you got anything before we get up out of here?
I don't. I think I'm gonna go get some sun before the sun goes down. It gets cold all over again.
Hey, that sounds like a plan. I think I'm gonna go to Kroger and buy some crab legs and make some real things happen over here tonight.
Oh, and you want to invite me over? I want to have.
I got you, player. I got you. But until